Every December, in the snow-draped town of St. Johann, the sound of bells echoes through the crisp night air. Families gather around warm fires, sharing tales of St. Nicholas's generosity. Yet the joy is tinged with a deep-seated fear, the fear of Krampus. Unlike St. Nicholas, who rewards the well-behaved with gifts and sweets, Krampus is a sinister figure. Described as half-goat, half-demon, with horns curling out from his head, claws like razors, and glowing red eyes, Krampus is said to punish the naughty. For centuries, locals have whispered about children vanishing on Krampusnacht, the night Krampus roams free. Krampusnacht occurs on December 5th, the eve of St. Nicholas Day. According to legend, St. Nicholas rewards good children, while Krampus comes for the disobedient. In St. Johann, this night has been celebrated with parades of people dressed as Krampus, meant to scare away the spirit. But some believe these parades do more harm than good, inviting the real Krampus into the town. In 1993, 7-year-old Lucas Schmidt became the center of one such chilling story. Lucas was a mischievous boy, often causing trouble for his neighbors. Despite his parents' warnings to behave, he dismissed Krampus as nothing more than a fairy tale. On Krampusnacht, Lucas's family attended the town parade. He laughed at the costumed performers, mocking their attempts to scare him. But later that night, while his family was asleep, Lucas claimed he heard jingling bells outside his window. Curious, he peeked through the frost-covered glass. Standing in the dim light of a street lamp was a shadowy figure holding a bundle of sticks. Convinced it was one of the performers, Lucas grabbed his coat and sneaked outside. The next morning, his parents found his bed empty. A search party scoured the snowy woods, finding only a trail of hoofprints leading deep into the forest. In the years following Lucas's disappearance, stories of Krampus sightings increased. Hunters claimed to hear guttural growls in the woods, and hikers reported stumbling upon claw marks etched into trees. A few even claimed to see glowing eyes watching them from the darkness. One chilling account came from a farmer named Hans Bauer. One winter night, Hans was returning home when he saw a towering figure standing on the edge of the forest. It had glowing red eyes and clutched a sack, writhing as if something or someone was inside. When Hans shouted, the figure vanished, leaving only deep hoofprints in the snow. In 2010, a young girl named Anna had her own brush with Krampus. Anna's family had recently moved to St. Johann and were unaware of the Krampusnacht traditions. On December 5th, Anna stayed up late reading while her parents slept. Around midnight, she heard scratching at her bedroom window. Terrified, she hid under her blankets but couldn't ignore the sound of heavy breathing outside. When she finally summoned the courage to look, she saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring back at her. Her screams woke her parents, but by the time they entered her room, the figure had disappeared, leaving claw marks on the window pane. Skeptics dismiss these tales as the product of overactive imaginations or misinterpretations of natural phenomena. But for the people of St. Johann, Krampus is very real. Parents still warn their children to behave, especially as Krampusnacht approaches. The legend of Krampus serves as a dark reminder that Christmas isn't always about joy and celebration. For those who believe, it's also time to tread carefully, lest the shadow of Krampus finds them. In the quiet town of Dijon, France, the cobbled streets are often filled with laughter and cheer during the Christmas season. But locals know that beneath the twinkling lights and joyous carols lies a sinister legend that casts a shadow over their festivities. Every child in Dijon grows up hearing tales of Père Fouettard, or Father Whipper. Unlike the jolly St. Nicholas, Père Fouettard is a dark and fearsome figure, tasked with punishing naughty children. But few realize that this legend is rooted in a chilling tale of murder, revenge, and restless spirits. According to folklore, Père Fouettard was once a butcher who lived on the outskirts of Dijon. He was a greedy and cruel man, known for his sharp knives and sharper tongue. One winter's day, 3 wealthy children wandered into his shop, seeking shelter from the cold. Seeing an opportunity to rob them, the butcher lured them inside, offering them food and warmth. But his kindness was a facade. As the children sat by the fire, the butcher killed them, intending to steal their money and possessions. He dismembered their bodies and hid them in a barrel of salt, hoping to avoid suspicion. When St. Nicholas visited the town that evening, he sensed something was amiss. Using his divine powers, he discovered the butcher's heinous crime and resurrected the children. As punishment, Saint Nicholas condemned the butcher to a life of servitude, forcing him to accompany the saint and punish disobedient children. Over the centuries, Père Fouettard has become a symbol of fear for misbehaving children in France. But in Dijon, the legend takes a darker turn. Residents claim that the ghost of the original Père Fouettard still roams the town, seeking redemption for his sins. One such sighting occurred in 1987 when a young woman named Elise was walking home from a late-night Christmas party. She took a shortcut through an old alley, known locally as Rue de l'Ombre. Halfway through, she felt an icy chill and heard the sound of heavy boots behind her. Turning around, she saw a man dressed in a tattered black cloak, carrying a whip. His face was pale, and his eyes seemed hollow. Terrified, Elise ran, but the figure followed her, the sound of his whip cracking against the cobblestones. When she finally reached her home and looked back, the figure had vanished. In 2003, a bakery in Dijon gained notoriety for its connection to Père Fouettard. The bakery, located near the site of the butcher's old shop, was known for its delicious Christmas pastries. But during the holiday season, strange occurrences began to plague the establishment. The owner, Madame Dupont, reported hearing whispers in the back room, even when she was alone. Items would move on their own, and the scent of blood occasionally filled the air. One night, as she was locking up, Madame Dupont saw a shadowy figure standing by the window. The figure resembled a man in a black cloak, holding a whip. The bakery closed shortly after, and the building has remained abandoned ever since. Locals believe it is cursed, haunted by the spirit of Père Fouettard. In 2015, a 9-year-old boy named Hugo had a terrifying experience that his family still refuses to discuss. Hugo was known for being mischievous, often causing trouble at school and home. On Christmas Eve, his parents left him alone for a few hours while they attended a church service. That night, Hugo claimed to hear footsteps in the hallway, followed by the sound of a whip cracking. Thinking his parents had returned, he went to greet them, but the house was empty. Moments later, he saw a man in a black cloak standing at the foot of the stairs. The man's face was pale, and his eyes seemed to burn with anger. The figure raised his whip, but before it could strike, Hugo's parents returned. The figure vanished, leaving only a scorch mark on the wooden floor. Hugo refused to sleep alone for months after the incident. Many believe that Père Fouettard's spirit is trapped in Dijon, doomed to wander the streets during the Christmas season. While some dismiss the sightings as figments of imagination, others swear by their experiences. For the people of Dijon, Père Fouettard is more than just a cautionary tale. He is a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most joyous celebrations. On a cold December night, in the picturesque Austrian village of Hallstatt, the sound of jingling bells filled the air. But unlike the joyful carols that usually accompany the holiday season, these bells carried an ominous tone. The villagers locked their doors and windows, whispering prayers as they feared the arrival of a shadowy figure who comes not with gifts, but with chains and punishment. This is the legend of Krampus, the terrifying counterpart to Saint Nicholas. But in Hallstatt, the tales of Krampus are not mere folklore. For generations, villagers have shared spine-chilling accounts of encounters with this horned demon, stories so unsettling they continue to haunt their descendants. In Austrian folklore, Krampus is a half-goat, half-demon creature who punishes naughty children during the Christmas season. With his long horns, sharp claws, and fiery eyes, he is said to drag the disobedient into the underworld. While Saint Nicholas rewards the good, Krampus ensures that the wicked pay the price for their misdeeds. The origins of Krampus can be traced back to pre-Christian Alpine traditions, where he was believed to be a pagan god of winter. When Christianity spread across Europe, the Church sought to suppress the legend, but failed. Instead, Krampus was incorporated into Christmas traditions, becoming an enduring symbol of fear and punishment. In December 1956, Hallstatt was blanketed in snow as Christmas approached. 8-year-old Carl Fischer was known as a mischievous child, often getting into trouble at school and at home. His parents would frequently warn him about Krampus, hoping to curb his behavior. One evening, Carl's parents attended a holiday market, leaving him alone at home. When they returned, they found the house eerily silent. The front door was slightly ajar, and Carl was nowhere to be found. The only clue was a set of large, hoof-like prints leading from the house to the nearby forest. Search parties combed the woods for days but found no trace of the boy. Some villagers claimed to hear distant jingling bells and the sound of chains, but no one dared venture deeper into the forest. To this day, Carl's disappearance remains unsolved, and his name is often invoked by parents to warn their children about the wrath of Krampus. In 1978, an old inn located near Hallstatt gained notoriety for its connection to Krampus. The innkeeper, Herr Reinhardt, often hosted travelers during the holiday season. One snowy night, a group of hikers sought refuge at the inn after losing their way in the mountains. As they warmed themselves by the fire, they noticed strange carvings on the walls, depictions of a horned creature with a whip. Herr Reinhardt explained that the inn was built on land believed to be cursed by Krampus. According to legend, the creature had once appeared there during a Krampusnacht festival, dragging away a villager who mocked his existence. That night, the hikers were awakened by the sound of chains rattling and heavy footsteps outside their room. One of them, a man named Lucas, claimed to see a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes staring at him through the window. The figure disappeared, but the hikers left at dawn, vowing never to return. The inn was abandoned shortly after, and locals avoid the area, calling it Krampus Domain. Krampusnacht, celebrated on December 5th, is a traditional Austrian festival where men dress as Krampus and parade through the streets, scaring children and adults alike. While the event is usually festive, the 2002 celebration in Hallstatt took a terrifying turn. That year, a group of friends decided to camp in the woods to summon Krampus as a joke. Armed with costumes and plenty of schnapps, they reenacted the rituals associated with the legend, including the ringing of bells and the lighting of torches. Around midnight, they heard a low growl that sent shivers down their spines. The growl was followed by the sound of chains dragging across the forest floor. Thinking it was one of their friends playing a prank, they laughed it off, until a figure emerged from the shadows. The creature was unlike any costume they had seen. Standing over 7 feet tall, with long twisted horns and fiery eyes, it exuded an aura of pure malevolence. The friends fled, abandoning their campsite. When they returned the next day, their belongings were shredded, and the ground was scorched in a circular pattern. None of them ever spoke of the incident again, but their story spread through the village, adding to the chilling legend of Krampus. In the early 1900s, Hallstatt's church bells were said to hold a mysterious curse. According to local lore, the bells were used to ward off Krampus during the Christmas season. However, one year, a blacksmith named Joseph decided to mock the legend by refusing to ring the bells, calling the tale superstitious nonsense. That Christmas Eve, Joseph's family heard the sound of heavy footsteps outside their home, followed by the jingling of bells. In the morning, Joseph was found unconscious near the church, his body covered in deep scratches. He claimed to have seen Krampus, who warned him never to ignore the bells again. After the incident, Joseph became a recluse, spending the rest of his days repairing the church bells as an act of penance. Locals believe the curse still lingers and ensure the bells are rung every year to keep Krampus at bay. Krampus myth or malevolent reality. The stories of Krampus continue to haunt the people of Hallstatt, blurring the line between legend and reality. Whether he is a figment of imagination or a supernatural being, the fear he instills is undeniable. For those who believe, Krampus serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences of misdeeds, a demon who ensures that even in the season of joy, darkness can find its way in. In 1947, a toy maker named Henri opened a shop in Rochem, hoping to bring joy to the village's children after the devastation of World War II. However, his toys were no ordinary creations. Henri claimed to receive visions of intricate designs from a mysterious figure who appeared in his dreams. Desperate to succeed, he followed these designs, crafting dolls, trains, and puppets that were eerily lifelike. The shop became an overnight sensation, but soon, dark rumors began to spread. Parents reported their children behaving strangely after playing with the toys, speaking in unfamiliar languages, drawing disturbing images, and waking up screaming in the middle of the night. One Christmas Eve, Henri vanished without a trace. His shop was found ransacked, with soot marks leading from the chimney to the forest. The villagers burned the remaining toys, but some believe Henri had unknowingly struck a deal with Père Fouettard, and his disappearance was the price he paid. In 1993, an American family moved to Alsace, unaware of the region's dark Christmas lore. The Wilsons, eager to embrace French traditions, decorated their home with holly and lights, and even dressed their youngest son Timmy as Père Noël for a school play. One night, Timmy claimed to see a man in a red cloak standing by the fireplace. His parents dismissed it as an overactive imagination. However, strange occurrences began to plague the household. Doors creaking open on their own, whispers in the middle of the night, and soot appearing in odd places. On Christmas Eve, the family awoke to find Timmy missing. The only clue was his red cloak lying in front of the fireplace, torn and singed. The Wilsons left France soon after, but their story became a cautionary tale among locals. To this day, families in Rocham avoid dressing as Père Noël, fearing they might attract the attention of his sinister counterpart. In modern times, the village of Rocham has embraced an unusual Christmas tradition to ward off Père Fouettard. At midnight on Christmas Eve, the church bells ring continuously for an hour, while villagers gather to sing hymns and light candles. Some skeptics dismiss the tradition as superstition, but others swear it has kept the dark figure at bay. However, there are still those who claim to hear faint laughter in the forest and see shadows moving among the trees. Whether Père Fouettard is a myth or a malevolent spirit, his story serves as a chilling reminder that even in the season of joy, darkness can linger just beyond the light.